Welcome to Bonehead Weekly. It is my pleasure, Dimitriy, to welcome you to the show. Now, before I've stopped asking how is everyone, all those bullshit questions that people do, but I do want to give a little bit of a kiss-ass note to begin with to you. So we met in Huntington in June, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Beach, not the beach. The town.
I forgot to introduce Chad, by the way. I'm Joe. You've met Joe before. The other one's Chad. There should be James. There's three of us, but he's teaching a class. Now, I was just telling Chad while you were up gallivanting, showing us your ass as you walked away, and we appreciate it, is that there was only two people that I contacted or that I really wanted to talk to afterwards, and you were one of them that we spent some time with. It was like, they would be a really good interview. And you know the other one.
I appreciate that, but thank you.
And you know who the other guy is.
And
we'll get to that in a second.
do I? Okay.
You do. He helped you with your career.
Okay.
He's a good storyteller.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I totally didn't even tell me about it.
Well, he never responded to me.
Okay.
So I don't know if he just never checked it or if there's another way. I'll ask you about this after we're done.
Okay.
Because I would love to have him on. He's a great storyteller. But so when we were talking, I actually hit you up. I said, I'd love to have you on the show because you and I were sitting at the bar with another young lady who I'm not going to say or ask you any questions about. And I was fascinated by how you got into the industry, right? So if you don't mind, I'm going to reenact some of that conversation so our audience will know, because what we do have, we usually have screenwriters, directors, production designers, things like that on. We don't do a lot of actors. And we've had a few stunt folks, right, Chad?
Yeah.
And because those folks always have the best stories and we love good stories, but how you got into the industry to me is fascinating. So do you want to talk a little bit about your, not necessarily childhood, but I'm assuming this was early teens and your Mad Max days or late 20s or
Wow,
I know
man.
you look great for 52. Dimitriy.
I do look great for 52.
So tell us a little bit about, before you got into it, what were you doing out in the desert?
So there's an event called Wasteland Weekend that I've attended for a few years, and it's I usually describe it as a post-apocalyptic desert camp out festival. It's in California every year, and it happens to land on my birthday, so it's always been for the last say maybe
40 years.
8 years. Take. It's been a fun way to spend a birthday, and everybody gets dressed up in like Mad Max style costumes, but it's also for gamers like Fallout and other movies like Tank Girl, anything post-apocalyptic.
Chad, one of Chad's favorite films is Tank Girl, actually.
Yep, it's a fun movie. Yeah. So I've been going there for a few years at the time, and happened to be running around with some new friends and signed up for a fight inside the Thunderdome, which is a recreation of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome out at the event. And it's kind of an American Gladiators type, it's not really fighting, it's more for the show. You kind of impress the crowd that's around you, who are all they climb up on top of the dome and are cheering, and there's heavy metal playing, and it's a good time.
How come I've never heard of this?
It's like Burning Man on acid, right?
I wouldn't say quite like that. I was
gonna say I thought Burning Man was Burning Man on acid.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah, people do compare the two, but I think Mad Max is just Wasteland Weekend is just so much more. It's just a specific theme. It's that's what it is.
It sounds so much cooler than Burning Man. I'm sorry. And I'm probably a lot less assless chaps, I'm assuming.
Debatable. Well,
no.
Also debatable.
So here's the thing about chaps. They're all assless, right?
I know. As soon as I said
why do we always say assless chaps? Because technically chaps
chaps do not have.
Dude,
Yep.
ass,
Yeah.
so, but people still say assless chaps. I know, it's just funny.
Fun to say. It's fun to say.
And what happened while you were there? You met up with someone.
Yeah. So I just happened to finish my fight inside the Thunderdome, and it was like just before midnight, the day before my birthday. So it was like less than an hour away from. I don't remember what age I was turning. Anyway, happened to run into some friends that were calling me over to congratulate me on my win, and there's this like big block party happening where everyone's just standing around and chatting and drinking and having a good time. And they're just everybody's drunk and they're talking at me and super loud and obnoxious. And I'm like, all right, you guys just like settle down. I already know all of you. And I turn over to the left and I said, but I don't know you. And there's a beautiful girl there named Amy Beer. And we end up spending the entire night walking around and exploring the event. And after all the music turns off, and happen to sit by a bunch of different campfires that, you know, people stay up to different times in the middle of the night. And yeah, she and I have been together for the last 6 years. So
The last 6 years. I didn't know you guys were still together. That's awesome.
yeah, man.
Who did she introduce you to?
So well, he tried to introduce himself.
Oh, we did.
We had, so she was there. The reason she was there, and she's not a regular attendee of the event. She was there for for a wedding that happened to be held at the event inside the Thunderdome earlier in the weekend, and she was there with both of her parents because it was a family friend who was getting married. So they were all there. I actually got to meet her dad the next morning as they were packing up and leaving. And her dad happens to be Dickie Beer.
Now, for those folks who don't know, Dickie is famous as a stuntman.
That's right.
He was he played he was some of the parts of Boba Fett and Return of the Jedi. By the way, I almost said Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's how you know I'm tired. I apologize. You didn't know I almost said it, but just to name a few things.
He was a part of Indiana Jones as well, though. So
Yep, right. So how does that conversation happen? So you grew up, did you have any intentions of being an actor? Did you have any intentions of being a stunt person?
None at all for acting, but I did want to be a stunt performer when I was younger. I was an avid martial artist. And started when I was like six-ish, and continued on like well through high school into college, and just didn't know. I didn't have any, connections, and I didn't really know anybody in the industry at all. Like I honestly had no idea how people went about it, and eventually finished high school and had to go to work, pay rent, go to school, do all the usual stuff that takes up a lot of time, and realized that I had no real way of getting into the industry. I had to just kind of forget about it, or at least put it on the back burner for the time being. And then over the next however many years, it just kind of went further and further back and was almost forgotten. I continued training, and I'm really active guy. I work out all the time. I do all sorts of interesting activities. I skydive, I snowboard.
So why this skydiving thing? I just can't wrap my mind around it.
It's great. It's such an awesome feeling.
Dimitriy, how is it awesome? You're free falling you're plummeting.
Yeah.
To your possible death. This is the reason. Well, two reasons why I'm not a stunt person. One, fat guy, just not. And the second is, that's okay. You can laugh. We've had a good time before. But the second thing is, Chad, do you want to jump out of? Chad would probably jump out of a plane.
I would jump out of a plane if coerced. That being said, I am not going out of my way to jump out of a plane. I just can't do it.
Is that what
you should?
I will say this. There was once a girl a few years before my wife.
Because there's always a girl that talks someone into something.
Yeah. And she was she was into skydiving, and if things had gone one way, I would have been on that plane. But it didn't. So
Funny story, the plane didn't land.
yeah, no.
Hilarious story.
Isn't it great she broke up with him just in time?
Rough.
Oh,
Could you imagine? And that was like when I was 300 pounds. My 300-pound ass falling out of a plane. I can't.
No, man, you guys are missing out. I highly recommend it.
maybe when
Not a whole lot quite like it.
maybe when the kid is grown and I've got nothing, nothing, just go out without a parachute and just see what happens. So basically you met. So how did the conversation happen? I mean, he has made a living as a stunt performer, correct? For well over 30 years.
Sure.
And so do you ask him, or does he look at you and go, you know what you should do?
So after Amy and I got together, and I think at the time we were already together probably for maybe a year, possibly a little more. I can't quite remember, but it was honestly just one night sitting and having a conversation during dinner at their house, and I don't remember exactly how it started, but Dickie and his wife both just maybe they talked about it beforehand, but they kind of started talking to me about, like, why don't you try it out? Like, why don't you attempt joining film industry and trying your hand at Stunt World? And I kind of thought about it for a second, and all of these thoughts of trying to do that when I was younger came back in my head, and was like, yeah, why the hell not? Why not try it? I literally have absolutely nothing to lose. Like, I was in the middle of a fun job at the time, but it wasn't, it's not a job that would have gone anywhere. Like, it certainly wasn't a career choice. And
is this the one you were telling me about at the interesting? Was it a restaurant or bar? I can't remember, or both. Yeah.
Definitely an interesting story as well.
That is a long story. I don't know that it's quite our movie bonehead story. It's more of the next time we're at a convention, just come over to us and buy us drinks, and then you and I will just tell story. You tell that one, and then I'll tell something about Chad and that lady who didn't make it back at the plane.
Okay, sounds good. Oh man, it honestly was super organic. I immediately thought, yeah, why not try it out? And I have nothing to lose. Just start, sign up for background acting with a casting company here in Los Angeles that runs like the majority of the productions, and slowly started a couple of days a week doing background work. And the more I did that, the more I knew that I had to reduce my hours at the restaurant that I was managing, and eventually it turned into where I was doing background stuff 5 days a week, and I completely quit the restaurant because I thought I needed to focus on getting into SAG.
Right.
And, I mean that's all it was. It was pretty organic.
I gotta ask, what was the first background gig you got?
Nothing really to talk about.
Oh.
Actually, no. The first couple that I did were kind of silly because I still had a mohawk at the time. So for the first, that was
bury the lead.
Yeah.
Well, in his
I'm
defense,
sorry, did I leave the mohawk part out from the Mad Max story?
Well, I thought you were going to kind of tie it in, but it did go with the restaurant story of how you got the job at this restaurant, Chad. I'm sorry, and I thought you would bring in. So let's talk about why the hell you had a mohawk. Yeah, go ahead.
Was it Mr. T mohawk, or was it like straight on like 80s punk rockers mohawk?
It was bright pink, the color that I used to dye my hair. I mean, I dyed it all sorts of different colors, but it was called atomic pink. So it was pretty damn bright.
You weren't going to hide at night.
No. He said you weren't going to hide at night. He's basically just a highlighter.
Yeah. At events when we went to when I used to go to festivals, I was really easy to find. I didn't need to stand there waving to call people over. Everybody knew exactly where I was.
So what kind of work does a what was it again? Atomic Dog Pink.
Atomic Pink.
Atomic Pink.
I just wanted to throw in the Atomic Dog.
Oh, George Clinton. I don't know why that.
Yes,
would-
yes. I just wanted to say Atomic Dog. I actually wanted to start singing and realized there was no way on earth that I would do it any justice, so I just shut up. So that's a very niche market, having that mohawk.
Well, that's why I didn't get any work for the first like 3 months. I was too attached to it. I still miss it. Like all the time. I used to love that hair. It was a lot of fun to do. And anyway, when I started doing the background stuff, I just didn't get any work because nobody needs, as a background actor, you got to be in the background. You got to blend in. You have to look like nothing special. And with to be fair, at the time I had already cut the color off, so it was just my regular brown, but it was still a solid like 2 inches long, and even slicked back, it would still kind of stand out. So I didn't get much work for the first little while, and as soon as I made the decision to cut it off, did the clean cut look, and I was doing police, military, any clean cut, suit, tie, whatever. But I started working like pretty much every day, and within a few months I had all my union vouchers to join SAG. So
now that's where I want to stop, because I don't think Chad and you are going to be about, I think Dimitriy, you'll be episode 199. So we're almost at like 200 episodes. And another reason why I think you're going to be a great guest is because we have people ask us questions specifically about getting into the entertainment industry. And I'd love you to kind of explain that process of getting into SAG, because what 80-90% of SAG doesn't make a living, Screen Actors Guild, or they supplement it with something else. What is the
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
well, so how many of the SAG members, Screen Actors Guild members, are actually making a living like you, only acting?
I don't think I have that number.
No, you probably don't, but it's not a ton, right? It's not everyone.
It's probably
You didn't get your monthly spreadsheet?
All right, fuck it. Let's go back. Let's rephrase the question.
No, but I get
obviously you get
No,
that's all right. You
No, I
did
get what you
heroin
mean.
before we started. Let's keep
What?
going. I was joking with you. I said you did heroin before we started. But
I get what you mean. I definitely get what you mean. I don't think a lot of people who join SAG have the intention of making a living by being actors or by being stunt performers.
oh, that's interesting. Why do you think that? Why is that?
Well, a lot of I think the common way to get into it is through doing background acting, and what ends up happening is you can do non-union work as much as you want while you're like, until you actually are forced to join. You can decline, I guess, SAG work at like when you're non-union, but once you join SAG, you have to take only SAG jobs. Like you can only take union work. And I think what a lot of people see, especially in this is my guess because I've not gone the acting route. If you join SAG too early and you don't have like a good base to like
a resume
experience, yeah, definitely a resume. Like people, you got to do non-union work and get your skills up. And what with in the acting world, I think a lot of people join SAG too soon, and then now they're going to auditions against people, like competing against people who have been doing this for years and have been through all the schools and have worked on a lot of big movies and have a name to themselves, and that's not who you want to be competing for a part against when you have no experience.
Right.
So, but it doesn't really work that way with background acting. You're not auditioning against anybody. You just get called to do a job and show up. And I think that's what a lot of people do. I think the majority of SAG is probably background actors because it's open to everybody. And a lot of people just want to stay there and not really advance any further, and they just do background acting as a living, which there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just a big part of what SAG is. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people have that intent to advance further.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. I never really thought about people just making a living being background actors and being okay with that.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad work. It's just-
No, I would imagine it's not. I mean, so what are the perks other than just being on a movie set?
what are the perks?
Yeah, I mean, it's not digging a ditch, right? I mean,
No, for
probably.
sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's just like, it's very similar to acting and stunt work. I
Mhm.
mean, a lot of the time you come into a job and you're sitting there and you don't really do a whole lot for the entire day.
Yeah.
There's definitely stunt days that you're on the schedule and you're supposed to, everyone thinks they're going to do something, and then the day goes by and you're just like looking around like, what? All right, I guess we're done. And you haven't even stood up yet to get called in for work. So
Right.
sit on set the entire day. And I mean, background acting is definitely similar, but those are of course outlier days. But for the most part, you show up to set, you do some walking, pantomiming, have some lunch, and go home,
Yeah. And yeah, and lunch is there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't even have to buy lunch.
No, that's definitely a big perk, I would say.
So let's talk about, so how many on-screen appearances do you have to have before you can get your SAG card? So can you talk about that process of actually obtaining the SAG card?
Yeah, so it's not actually on-screen appearances.
Okay.
I know a lot of people think it's being featured.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It honestly has nothing to do with being featured or how many times you go to work. It's a little difficult to explain. You really just have to get lucky.
Yeah.
The way it works is you need to get three union jobs. So as a non-union background actor, you need to show up, and for whatever reason, the production needs an additional union member, so they like temporarily use you as a union person because they have that spot available.
Yeah.
Or it might be something really specific that they're looking for that they weren't able to find a union member, like a union background actor, to fill that spot. Let's say they just need a really outlandish skill. Let's say they need somebody that knows how to skydive and is a background actor, but just hypothetically, they need somebody who knows how to do something really specific, and out of their pool they have nobody to pick from. So then they choose a non-union person and they use them in a union capacity for the day. So you have to have that happen 3 times, and then you're eligible to join SAG. And for some people that could take you three straight days of work, and for other people that can take several years. And I've talked to a few people who have been background actors for like 3+ years, and they have not seen a single union voucher.
Really?
So it's really the luck of the draw. I mean, they're probably not trying too hard to get it, because there are ways to. There are like hints that from casting calls where it sounds like, based on the wording of the casting call and what they're looking for, you can usually tell if they're looking for something. Like I said, if they're looking for a particular skill, chances are it's going to be a union job. It's not guaranteed, but it's a little more likely. So those people who have been doing this for a long time and haven't received anything, they're probably not trying too hard to join. So they're not really on the lookout for those.
Yeah.
clues.
I'm sorry, Chad. I thought you were going to say something.
No, I was just going to go back to your stunt work, because I just have to ask, because how do you develop that whole arsenal of things that you have at your disposal to do the stunt work? Because I mean, is it just something you had just done in your free time, or is this something you're still continually building up?
I would say that the majority of stunt people are doing that all the time. They
Okay.
probably like. My guess is that just about all stunt people come with some sort of physical ability background. So mine happens to be martial arts, but I've also done a little bit of gymnastics and parkour, and like I said, all the sports that I've done growing up, and all these other more advanced stuff, like I said, like snowboarding, like skydiving. All of that translates into stunt work, because it gives you an awareness of what your body can do in different positions and different planes. So all of that can be used in stunt work, in a stunt world.
So I got a question for you. I looked up your resume online, and you have an amazing arsenal of skills at the ready. Firearm, like I said, karate, parkour, skydiving, rock climbing, firearm training, the list goes on. There's one that caught my eye and I had to ask you about it. Forklift operator. That's it.
He knew where you were going. He knew where you were going.
I was looking at it and I'm like, one of these things isn't like the others.
You know what? Something, because for you might have a job that requires you to drive a forklift as like into a car or something like that.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows how to drive that. Not everybody knows how to drive a stick shift. Not everybody knows how to drive military vehicles or large trucks, you know? So you never know. Like something, if you think back to the amount of movies that you've seen and look through them, how many weird things have you seen in a movie that you're like, how did this person know how to do that?
Yeah,
Did they learn specifically for the role, or did they come into it having already driven this or played this or did this activity, whatever it is?
I mean, that is true. I mean, there's been plenty of cool scenes with a forklift, but at the same time, I was just thinking, well, that stuntman just went in there and said, "You can drive this, right?" And they go, "Hell yeah, I can." I mean,
it's a good rule of thumb to not fudge around on your resume.
That's true.
I mean, you don't want to do that anywhere, but in some industries you can get away with it. If you can't do something as a stunt performer, it's gonna be pretty apparent.
Yeah, I've heard stories about people who they claim they could be a horse, they could ride horses, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, that person got hurt real bad.
Oh yeah. I mean, I just started to learn how to do horse stuff. I just got a single, I had to fall off a horse recently for the first time. And, I wouldn't say that I know how to really ride a horse. Like I would not consider myself a horseman by any means. Like if there's some project that requires somebody that knows how to ride a horse, like at an expert level, that's not me. I know, and I can control that, but it would need to be I would make it pretty clear that like my ability level is at a relatively maybe just above basic, but it's pretty low on there. I would not want to be thrown in with a bunch of expert horsemen, and then first of all, I would look like an idiot. The coordinator looked like an idiot, and it would slow down the production, and then I would probably not get called back. So it's not worth that to bullshit on a resume for a stunt man.
All right, so I have to ask this question now.
Sure.
You fell off a horse for the first time.
Correct.
What is going through your head as you're willfully falling off a rampaging beast?
That's a good question.
Not a whole lot.
Don't get killed?
No, I mean, you're falling off towards the back, so it's going to keep going forward. By the time you're off the back of the horse is nowhere near you anyway. So the fall is just to make the landing look good. The horse knows what to do. It just keeps going. Like they're trained horses, and it's still a wild animal. You're totally right, but they are film animals.
They've got their SAG card.
They do have their SAG card.
I've been on a horse, and I've been on a horse a handful of times, and I have been on a horse that went from trot to gallop. And the whole time I was just like, oh, motherfucker, oh, motherfucker, oh, motherfucker. I couldn't imagine actually falling off of it on purpose and what is going through your head, even though you're a trained stuntman and you're used to this kind of work. But
hey, I had 2 weeks of horse training to do this job. And it was awesome. I hit training hard. And because I was very upfront about it, I was asked like, hey, are you, what's your riding level? And I said, I have ridden a horse like twice in my life, and they were like little quiet trail rides. And I got asked like, okay, well, you look, you're a great double for this. Is this something that you can make happen? And I said, yeah. And I learned how to do it. And by the end of the production, I was told by the coordinators that like, hey, you're actually riding better than the actor is in just that span of 2 weeks. So I honestly think that you can, that's not a recommendation at all. Like this is not.
Well, don't worry, Chad and I are not going to take up. We're
No,
we're
I'm
we're
saying
in
for
the
anybody
blue.
watching.
Yeah, we're in the bluegrass state, and we're still not going to do that shit.
Yeah,
so.
I have a niece who is an expert horse rider, and she's been trying to convince me. I know.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, for me, like I said, falling down was the easy part. It was I was initially too soft on the horse. Like I kept getting yelled at, like, no, you got to make it go. And I'm thinking like, well, if I hit it too hard, it's gonna be, I don't want to like hurt the horse. And they're like, dude, shut up. Like, just this is what you have to do. Like, but you don't know it at the time. Like when you're beginning, you don't know what's too hard or too soft. It feels like you're doing it really hard. But
Are we still talking? Are we still talking about horses?
still talking horses.
Okay. It started to sound like something completely different. Well, all right. So here's another question, and Chad's heard me ask this shit to a couple of people because it really is curious. In my brain, the automatic, your body does not want to get hurt, but you've got to fall. And I'm not talking about off a horse. I'm talking about in anything when it comes to stunts. And you've got to fall and not get hurt, but you've got to make it look like you're actually falling. And that's acting, and that takes a lot of practice. What is wrong with you that allows you to be able to fall and not stop yourself? Because it's like I'm walking,
catching it.
You walk across the living room, you trip over. I saw a cat tower. I'm assuming that's a cat tower earlier. Over, so your cat's out here. I have 2 cats. Chad has a dog. You walking through the living room. The damn cat's out. It's dark. You trip over the cat, go to fall. The first thing you do is put your hands out, right? Or you try to stay. What is wrong with you that you are allowed in your brain, that your brain allows you just to fall on film? Well, we don't shoot on film anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, it's just practice. It's just practice. Trust me, it's not like it's easy when you start out doing it. And you're in your head, like making those connections of like, okay, I need to fall down and I can't brace because it's gonna ruin the shot. It's gonna look funny. And the first times you're practicing, even though you're practicing it on a mat and it's nice and cushy foam, it still slaps you in the face, or like it could knock the wind out of you depending on how you're landing and what direction you're hitting the ground, So it's definitely a little weird to kind of force yourself to do that and wrap your head around just that idea. It is weird. It feels weird.
I still say something's broken in you.
No,
it's okay.
It didn't start that way.
It's okay.
Honestly, it didn't start that way.
So you were doing background. How did you get into the stunts?
You mean through that conversation or
through that yeah, I mean, so you started out as background actor, correct? How did stunt performing is a different trade in the sense of you have to have, like Chad was talking about, of all the different things you can do, of all the different martial arts. How do you get into the stunt world?
You just have to start reaching out to people who are in the industry. I started training with a lot of stunt people, in different different movement gyms. I happen to have a lot of stuff in the area that I live. Everyone kind of congregates in the same places. So when you go to practice your own stuff, you'll probably run into some other stunt people that are practicing theirs, and just team up, do some practice together, figure out some stuff to just play around with and teach each other, or that kind of stuff. And then just reaching out to stunt coordinators. When I was doing background, every set that I was on, I would try to find a stunt coordinator and try to get their contact information, try to get advice. Like, hey, I'm brand new in the industry. If you have a spare few seconds to tell me, like, give me some advice on what to do, what I can train, what you're looking for, just kind of the next step. And then some coordinators were very, very much willing to do that and give me that information, and others just kind of they just don't really want to talk to background actors, because a lot of people might say like, oh yeah, I'm a background actor, I'm trying to get into stunts. They probably hear it all the time, and out of the people, what percentage of those people actually are trying to get into the stunt world, and what percentage are just talking. So
Yeah.
I'm sure they hear it a lot, and I understand I understand the mindset of just kind of distancing yourself.
And you're also looking for a certain body and a certain build, right? And a certain amount of athleticism. I mean,
Sure.
so for example, and I'm picking on myself again, I walk up to you and go, I want to get into stunts. Hold my donut. Let me
Right.
show you how to fall correctly. I don't
Yeah.
know. See, Chad, I'd be holding a donut because I'm fat. Shut up, Chad. No need
We all
any-
know you'd be eating a whole pie, not a donut. So let's
it's
be
not.
honest.
It's not true. Not. I'm much more of a cake person than a pie. But
Oh,
yeah.
no, pie is so much better.
And here I thought we had a moment.
No,
What's your-
cake is inferior. Sorry.
What's your favorite pie?
Pie? Between like apple and cherry, I think.
For a man who loves his pie, it took you way too long to come up with your favorite.
Whoa,
Maybe
whoa,
apple
wait.
and cherry.
I said pie is better than cake.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
At least he didn't say mincemeat.
Cake is
Mincemeat.
like
That's true. So let's get back off of pie. So Chad's question earlier, I don't think I got to talk to you about this. What was your first big movie, even as a background actor? What was your first big movie or show that you worked on? There's been so many, Chad. Look at him.
there were a lot of background parts.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have not done a whole lot of I haven't done anything that I would say is big as a stunt performer. Like I still have four or five credits at the moment.
Mhm.
So I'm very new to the industry, and I'm sure that'll change. Obviously, COVID had a big impact on
Yeah.
setting everybody back, but us newbies definitely had to take a seat for a while. But background, I did stuff like NCIS, like the CSIs that are out. I was a regular starting from the first season of SWAT, and that was a pretty big show. And I was there like for a couple years. I was there like almost daily, and just we got to do a lot of fun stuff there. And
So how did you end up with the Mandalorian?
so the Mandalorian was just initially it was just another background job. Like I didn't even know what it was because of all the code names.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. I didn't think about that. It's not like they would have called you up and said, we have to have you for Star Wars Mandalorian, right?
Right. Exactly. Because for background stuff, you get asked like, hey, are you available for this day to do this and this? And I kind of I wasn't there from the very, very beginning of season 1, so I already had kind of some idea of what it was. When I got asked for it, I kind of had a clue already. I didn't know for sure that's what it was, but I said yes. It sounded like something interesting, and then I showed up and was getting put into a stormtrooper outfit.
So, are you geeky by nature?
I would say so.
He fought in Thunderdome.
Well, yeah, that's a different kind of geeky. It's different than you and I sitting around in our full stormtrooper watching. Well, we've never done that, but it'd be funny if it was. And I don't cosplay. But are you so geeky that you'd have a stormtrooper outfit on before doing the show?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No, not quite. No, but I'm a gamer from back from the 90s, and like pretty avid, and I'd say that's there. But I do a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I do that's on the geeky or nerdier side, and then like I wouldn't say a cosplay because I've never actually done like a specific character, but I do all sorts of different like dress up stuff like Renaissance fair and
Saturday nights dresses.
Yeah, there you go.
Heels.
That's gonna go back to the restaurant story.
Yes, basically. No judgments. Go ahead, Chad.
So I got to go back to the Mandalorian, especially since you are a level of geek just like we are. And probably shooting that scene probably didn't run through your head that much, but as the shooting was over and you seen the popularity of the Mandalorian and specifically Baby Yoda,
Sure.
and when your episode aired, did you have anything triggering in your head that about at that moment that millions upon millions of geeks were saying, fuck that guy?
I was hoping for it.
Really? Were you? Because
Yeah.
I don't think I got to ask you about that, because I think you won't remember this, but I told you, I said, you're going to be 20 years from now signing shit in every regional convention. And I don't know if you remember me telling you this, with that picture of you shooting Grogu. Let's not piss off the Star Wars folks, Chad, with the Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
And you said, and you looked at me with one eye almost. No, you weren't that drunk, but you looked at me and said, God willing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
I mean,
But
you literally are one of the most.
Have so much more stuff by then.
I agree. I agree. But that is one of those.
You are now officially one of the most hated men in all of geekdom because you shot.
I was genuinely hoping for it. I honestly, I was a little disappointed when I didn't get the Sudeikis treatment after the fact. But I'm not on anywhere near that level, so I'm not quite surprised.
And let's be honest, he wasn't in the suit.
Yeah, it wasn't even him who did it. So
that's what I'm saying. He wasn't even in the suit. So fucks it. I mean, I'm a fan, but yeah, it wasn't even him in the suit. Just for people out there, the Mandalorian, the voice you hear, and the person who plays him are two different people.
Yeah, it's John Wayne's grandson, not.
No. I'm talking about the biker scout.
I know. No, we're just letting our audience know that. Yes.
Yeah, but that wasn't Brandon though. Not in the.
Yeah.
So you were hoping to get hated.
Yeah.
So you felt like you were going to be hated when you shot that scene. You felt you already knew that was there.
I mean, I knew it was coming. It's not like they're gonna. I was pretty confident that was gonna be part of the show. I don't think that was gonna be a scene that was gonna get cut. Pretty important.
not by Robert Rodriguez. No way.
But no, I really was, because I mean, there's only good guys and bad guys in the show. So like, if you're gonna be a bad guy, you might as well lean into it.
So that one is yours. That one is directed by Rodriguez. I completely forgot. Right?
Yep. Yeah, episode 6, season 2 was Robert Rodriguez.
I think so. Yeah. So obviously he left a huge impact that we said that was directed by Rodriguez. And you go, I don't know, maybe kind of. That's
well, I mean, he was there quite a lot. But the thing is, when you're working with a lot of directors, and I'm not in that capacity where I'm constantly interacting with them.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not memorable to work with them, but I don't have the same interaction. It doesn't stick around the same way.
In the same time, when you're actually also doing background on some of the stunts, you're working sometimes second unit, you're working with the AD, second AD, right? And folks, and not even actually talking to that. But I find it fast. What are some of the other things that you enjoyed? Is there anything that's been cut that you wished you could have? Can you talk about that you wish would have made it?
From Mandalorian, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, one of the characters that I got to play that I was really excited to see was unfortunately in a incredibly minor capacity, but it was such a cool character to wear. Like I do a lot of the aliens on the show, and obviously stormtroopers as well. But I do the majority of the time that I spend there is in some kind of alien mask or helmet, whatever. And this was just a really cool looking alien, had an awesome outfit, and I was hoping to get some sort of actions to do, and it got completely cut out, and I can't even say that, or I can now. I kind of got lucky. I wasn't able to see it in the show, but then when the Disney Gallery came out, there's actually a snippet of me getting fixed by like in that costume and in that alien mask. So I got to see it in behind the scenes footage. So if anything, it's almost like more exciting to see it in only the behind the scenes part and not actually in the show itself.
Oh,
so
I've got it. Cool. So that's on Disney Plus, right? I could go check that out. Oh, yeah, I didn't know.
Right.
I gotta go back. I haven't watched it yet. Have you watched the Disney Gallery, Chad?
No, I haven't had a chance to watch it.
No, I have to go see it.
Yeah, they have the season 1 and 2, like Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and the gallery. So, yeah, it was cool to see that. It's like there for like a second and a half, but
because I was going to imagine it has to be funner to dress up like a Tusken Raider than it is a Stormtrooper, because the Stormtrooper is such a basic outfit, but the aliens and the Tusken Raiders all are more intricate. I would assume from
I find the alien stuff a lot more interesting. Being a creature is more fun anyway, just because you get to move around funny.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get to make weird sounds and speak differently, and obviously none of the audio goes in, and it's all recorded after the fact anyway, like you said earlier. But it's just, I find it more fun to be non-human, I guess. But those Stormtrooper costumes, I'm sure you guys talked about this before with other troopers. It is not a comfortable piece of equipment.
Oddly enough, I haven't. We haven't actually had a lot of folks on. We normally don't, but I wanted you on the show. Yes, and I've heard, and Dickie talks about how the outfit's gotten better from 30, 40 years ago, right?
Maybe.
He says
I doubt by much. I haven't tried the old ones, and he hasn't tried the new ones. They're probably the same freaking thing.
That's okay. But as a Star Wars fan, I just a little bit. I mean, just one time, just you're made up. You got the blaster. You just do a side glance in the mirror as you're walking out and go, "This is pretty cool."
It is cool. I do that all the time
for 5 minutes, right?
Start posing.
And then hour 4 of just standing there and not being able to set your ass down because of that uncomfortable. Or being able to go to the bathroom or eat or any of these other things. Then that's when it becomes a pain in the ass. That's what people don't understand, the misery that you have to go through. Correct?
I don't know about misery. That might be a little too extreme, but it's a little on the rough side.
I've been
from time to time. I mean, you were sitting. Sometimes you have a short day, but you're more or less you're sitting the entire day in this plastic armor, and sometimes 10, 12, 14 plus hour days. And it's not the best, but it is fun.
It is fun, but I don't want to know how you go to the bathroom, but I do. So don't answer me. Just kind of just roll on. Let's just not even talk about it.
You just take a break from that high fiber diet is all I can say.
I mean, it's just
depending on what you need to do, you may need help.
That's a hard question to ask somebody too. Excuse me. Yeah, I've got a number 2 and I've got to do it now. Why did they cater bean burritos today? Why? That's yeah, but anyway, moving right along. So you enjoy doing Alien. You're the one who picks up the pearl, right?
Right.
From the dragon.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That whole episode was so much fun to shoot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, if we weren't talking in context, you saying picking up the pearl from the dragon could have a whole nother connotation that we would have to specify.
Yes, one Tusken Raiders killed the crate dragon.
You got 2 of the most memorable scenes in all of Mandalorian, man. I mean, that's got to be something cool.
Thank you. I'm glad y'all think so. I thought they were pretty cool, and I just felt so fortunate to get to do those parts. And I know they're it's not like certainly not a principal role, but it's still they do happen to be memorable moments for people watching, and I think that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I do too. So are you shooting? Let's talk about some of the projects you got come up. What are you currently working on?
I'm not actually working on anything at the moment. I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing back about season 3 of Mandalorian. Yeah, I don't know when they're starting up just yet. Hopefully pretty soon. I would imagine within the next couple months.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've not heard anything just yet. But
Have you wrapped anything in the can the last couple of months you've been able to work through COVID?
Yeah, I've actually had a couple of stunt days here and there. Unfortunately, I can't talk about any of the stuff that I have worked.
I mean, listen to me. I've told many people this. No one's listening. Just go right ahead and tell
Well-
us. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, we know he fell off a horse, so I'm assuming it's the Fast and the Furious
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah, that was a fun one. And I can talk about that one. I don't think I can mention the production, but yeah, a couple. I mean, had some actually. I got lucky and got to do some stunt doubling on a production, and doubling for an actor is a little different from just doing
Yeah.
your own stunt work. Like you have to actually try to mimic what they're doing, and you're not just your own character. So it's a little stunt work with a twist, but yeah, that was really,
Well, yeah, because we talked to the stuntman who's the stuntman for Patrick Stewart, and he's what 30, 40 years younger than Patrick Stewart, and he has to mimic everything he does.
Yeah.
And so,
go ahead, Chad.
no, I was just going to say, so just having to learn that mimicking process has to be arduous in its own. You have to study all their movements, correct?
I mean, you're doing it that day. It's not like we're hanging out for a week prior to it and I'm just watching mannerisms. You show up that day that you're there. You might be there for a day or for a week or for the entire episode or the whole season. You never know. And I happened to be there just an episode at a time, and I just showed up on the first day, found out that I was going to be a stunt double, and then started paying attention to everything that the actor was doing, and
Wow.
figure out how they move, try to recreate it, copy all of their timing and their mannerisms. Like the thing is with stunt double work, you're not getting seen up close. If the camera is getting you up close, it's going to get cut from there. Like it's going to get edited to where my face is never seen. If I'm ever seen, that's not good for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So
It's not the 80s anymore where you could literally see every stuntman.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've improved a little bit since.
Yeah.
So you may not be able to answer this, but throughout your last few years, I get this question sometimes, like, you ever get starstruck and for the most part, I don't, right? And for people, I like a lot of behind the scenes folks. So doesn't really bother me. A couple of years ago, Chuck Norris there's a friend I work with who still asks me every few months a question about Chuck Norris, something like, I interviewed him for an hour. He was fine. Do you know what I mean? It was just,
Right.
that was it. He was nice. I was nice. We went on our separate ways.
Yeah.
But have you ever is there anyone who has just gotten starstruck, or you've been like, I can't believe I'm actually on the set with this person?
I have never felt that yet, and I don't know if I really ever will.
Yeah.
I do get asked. I have gotten asked that question before, and even by people who know me, like friends of mine who I've talked to about the industry, and I do know a lot of people that have tons of celebrities in their head that they're like, if I run into this person in the street or under any circumstances, it's just going to be this like mind-blowing experience, and I think they kind of build it up for themselves, which is great. You might, if you look up to people and you show up, like they show up in your life for whatever reason, like that's cool. I get it. I've just never had that really growing up in Los Angeles. Like I used to see celebrities
All the time.
I wouldn't say all the time, but pretty regularly throughout the year, just completely randomly. Like I think the biggest name that I actually did get to meet in person before doing any of this, before I had any inclination to do anything in the film industry, I think I was like 15 or 16, and like doing some canyon driving with some like a car group that I was trying to get into. And
At 15, before your license, sir?
Yeah, because I was trying to get into it eventually. Like I wasn't driving. I was just riding along. Driving in fast cars and convertibles and canyons by the beach, hair in the wind. Great. But anyway,
Hey, screw you.
It does sound fun. It does. It's okay. It's
Hey,
okay. He can
Chad,
make
at 15, it was probably there.
No, I still had this fucking haircut.
in his defense, he did start going bald in college.
Yeah. At 15, I had a cowlick up here that just stuck straight up. So that wind never went anywhere. It just bounced right off, man.
Chad is like Patrick Stewart in the sense that he just looks better bald. And I would
Which
not,
isn't much.
And I would not look better bald. It's just he looks better bald. But anyway, you were telling your story about being 15 and running up and down the roads. You hellion.
I ran into Kevin Bacon.
Oh yeah,
of all people. Like I heard the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It had already become a thing, and I knew the actual phrase, but running into the guy, that was like the first one who I actually got to chat with briefly in person, and it wasn't just like driving by and seeing a celebrity like walking down the street, which that happened all the time. But of all places, it was like by the beach. We pulled off somewhere to like go to the restroom, I think, before heading home, and I'm over there. But I think I'm standing there and waiting for the restroom, and I'm like, hey, I think that's Kevin Bacon, like to the rest of my group, and everyone's like, nah, don't be stupid, like there's no way. And we walk up, and everyone's like, he happens to come out and walks by us after we like said a few words already, and I was like, who said that was Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
But no, it was totally like natural. It was just calm. Nothing. I didn't have any sort of like.
I know. I was just
that's the feelings. I don't think that's. I just don't think that's me.
Yeah, I know. I was hoping you had one of those. It's like The Rock came on and I just didn't know what to do. One of those, because I'm with you. It's very few that I've gotten kind of, and especially the more you see, the less it's special, right? And we've talked about this. Most famous people are like other people. 80-90% are fine, and then 10-20% are assholes. It's just like anybody else on the street. Yeah,
exactly. But that's the thing. They're just regular people.
They're just regular people.
Especially in their going about their regular lives. Like they're just trying to do
like
what everyone else is doing.
Like when you were stalking Kevin Bacon into that bathroom.
Exactly.
All right, Dimitriy. So what shows, as we wind up here, so what shows do you have coming up that you want to talk about and plug? I think you have some conventions coming up, don't you?
I don't know if I have anything lined up that I can talk about yet, because nothing is confirmed. I think I have a couple of things up in the air, but I don't have anything.
Oh, you don't have any conventions? I thought I saw some.
No, I just came back a couple weeks ago from Grand Rapids Comic-Con.
That may be what I saw, and I thought that was next month. I'm so sorry. Okay, cool.
No worries. I think that it's because there's another one, I believe, over there happening in November. They're like their annual one, and this was their first shot at like a spring version.
Yeah.
Do it like a biannual Comic-Con. So yeah, it was great.
I was about to say, do you like doing the convention stuff? Because had you haven't done many till this year, correct? Or the last couple of years?
I just started this year. My first one, I want to say, was like in late February or early March.
I think you just done one or two before Huntington when we met in June.
That was my second one. Huntington was my second.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So you do enjoy it?
I do enjoy it. I very much enjoy it. I love going around the convention and talking to people, like not even while signing. Like I enjoy being at the convention. I'm not just.
No, I do too.
I was very upfront with my manager about it. Like I want to be there, not just in the signing capacity. Like I enjoy being at the convention. Be at the convention.
Yeah,
I love that environment, and I think it's a blast.
Yeah, and once again, 80 or 90% are great and sweet, and just the 10% are just a little twerked.
But like you said, that's how it is with everybody. So
it is how it is with everybody.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye, but if you can hold on for a second after we wrap it up. Thank you, Dimitriy. Thanks for being on Bonehead.